Royals take 2 of 3 from the Minnesota Twins over the weekend. They keep themselves in striking distance in the wild card, but it's getting late. 19 games left, a big week of games against the Guardians and the Phillies coming up. We'll talk about that right now live on One Royal Way. We're back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, rate, subscribe, review on all platforms. Hit those notification bells so you know when our episodes go up. We are live on a Sunday night, as always. I'm going to try and keep this as brief as I can. I imagine most of y'all are watching Bills-Ravens. And if you are watching Bills-Ravens, hopefully that's on mute so no one has to listen to Chris Collinsworth and you're listening to me talk. That I would greatly appreciate. If you're on the audio side listening to this afterwards as well, I appreciate that. Make sure to leave a review. I think those do help grow channels. So be sure to help that out. Chris in the chat, as always. Thank you guys very much. We got a fun one coming up here. A series that they needed to win, and they found a way to. I know today was a little disappointing, but to win the first 2 games of the series against the pitchers that they did from the Minnesota Twins was pretty significant. We'll get into that. And then a few other notes. I don't want to talk about, obviously, Bobby left the game on Friday. He's missed the last couple. We'll hit that. I wanted to dive in on Stephen Kolek a little bit. I thought he had a great start on Saturday when I was out at the game. And then I know that everyone wants to talk about the lineup today. So that will be a separate topic that kind of summarizes the game today, where they lose 5-1. This show, as always, brought to you by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our partners in Possible here at Kansas City Sports Network and on this show. Can't thank them enough for their support over the last couple of years. And I do want to shout out Kansas City Strength and Conditioning. Be sure to check them out if you know of a baseball or softball player in the area looking for a place to train, get better, heading into fall ball, into the winter. It's the best time to start getting better for next season. That KCSC is the place to do it. We have a great relationship with them still, even if they are not a title sponsor on the show. We still have good connections and good relationship there. So be sure to go check them out. The Oklahoma State game didn't happen. I memory hold that I did like the Men in Black like memory erase. That game does not exist in my mind. We don't need to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is the Royals getting wins on Friday and Saturday against pitchers that have historically just shoved against Kansas City. Pablo Lopez, and it was his first start in a few months coming off the injured list, which was when I saw that he was coming back, and then it was Joe Ryan on Saturday. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You come off a series losing to the Angels. You're staring down the barrel of a real tough homestand, and now you get those 2 guys coming in. I was worried. I didn't know how this team was going to respond. I didn't know how they were going to handle it. And the offense was not stellar on Friday, but Michael Garcia hits the 2-run homer against Lopez, and that was the difference because Michael Wacha gets into the 6th inning, shocking, only gives up the 1 run, and the bullpen locks it down after that. Carlos Estevez gets another save, and you find a way to win a game. And so that was a huge step forward for this team against a guy, Pablo Lopez, who has been a Royals killer since he got traded from the Minnesota Twins a few seasons, or from the Florida Marlins a few seasons back. Miami Marlins. Why did I say Florida Marlins? That was weird. Whatever. And then on Saturday, you get Joe Ryan, who coming into that game, 10 starts, 1.34 ERA, and just they can't do anything against him. When we walked in the clubhouse, I was there on Saturday. Walk into the clubhouse, and some of the guys are, they're talking about it a little bit. Not like trade secrets, but just like, hey, Joe Ryan's on the mound. Vinny quipped, is hitting 091 against the guy. Is that good? Kyle Isbell said something like, I'm hitting 066. Like, this guy just has the Royals number. And Vinny said something to the effect of, last night we got our stepfather. We got to him last night, and Dad's on the mound tonight. We got to find a way to beat him. Paraphrase, but just these guys know, they know that when a guy has their number, they got to figure out how to beat it. And Joe Ryan's a really good pitcher. It's a tough battle because he moves the ball all over the place, and he throws, like, if you're, like Brian Wu, like that kind of low slot fastball that just kind of rides up top of the zone. It's a really tough pitch. It's one of the better pitches in baseball. Not just that the Royals have a tough time against it. A lot of guys in Major League Baseball struggle against it. So you wonder, okay, how are they going to be able to attack him? Is this the day? Are they going to be able to find a way to get to Joe Ryan? And they did, and quickly. I mean, this game started walk by Mike Yastrzemski, walk by Michael Garcia, double Vinny over the right fielder Wallner's head. It's 1-0 before you can, got people have sat in their chairs with their broughton beer. And then next batter comes up, first pitch, it's Salvi. It's a 3-run shot. And it's 4-0 before you can blink. And it was jarring. It was like, whoa, okay. And shout out to Michael and Yaz for working a really good count and for working some of these pitches, taking close pitches on the outside of the plate. Ryan got squeezed a little bit in some spots, and he looked frustrated. Like you could tell very quickly, like something he was irritated with the strike zone, and it got to him a little bit. And then he walks Adam Frazier. He strikes out Cags on a splitter, and then Nick Lofton hits a double, and it's 5-0. Just that fast. All 9 batters came out in the first inning. They didn't get another run in the second, but they still made him throw a bunch of pitches. 2 quick outs from Yaz and Michael, and then Vinny works a walk, Salvi singles, and Adam Frazier had he struck out, but he saw 8 pitches. So it ended up working to about 65, 64 pitches. How many did he throw? 62 in 2 innings. Got him out of the game. 5 earned, 4 walks. And it was jarring when you think about what he's done against the Royals historically. And they got to him. And then it's Thomas Hatch. They tag him for 4. They get Brooks Kriske for 2. Now you bring 11 runs across. It was an impressive offensive performance 1 through 9. And the third inning was huge because in the top, the Twins get 2 runs off of Stephen Kolek, and it's 5-2. It's still early game, hanging in the balance to some degree. And they rattle off 3 runs. Michael gets 1, Vinny gets 1. I think it was Kyle Isbell ends up with an RBI double as well. So you end up, and it's 8-2, and that was pretty much it. They end up getting a couple later in the game. I think it was on a Carter Jensen gets his first big league hit after Jack singled. So kind of poetic future of the organization. Carter with a single down the line, scoring Jack Caglione. Like we hope to see that quite a few more times in Kansas City over the next handful of years. They get a few more across in the 6th inning, and it's 11-2. And they opened up a can on Minnesota in that game after really struggling offensively in the first game. And Michael gets the home runs, ultimately the difference, but tagged them for 11 runs, and with it being Joe Ryan on the mound, that was really impressive. So to drill down on a couple other guys, I do want to talk about Jack and Carter from just what I saw on Saturday and what I've seen since they came up. I think the quality of a bat for Jack is getting a lot better. You can see the improvements from just time, right? Because I think the offensive ceiling is sky high because of how hard he hits the ball. When he's able to elevate it, it's special. And we've all seen that. We know what it looks like when he hits these home runs. I mean, it's insane, what he is capable of. But it was marred by quality of contact issues and swing decision issues. Seems like he's starting to work through that a little bit. Maybe too passive in spots, like trying to work counts, trying to be more careful, try and find his pitch. But he's getting better swings off. And when he is hitting the ball, he's hitting it in the air, right? That was one of my biggest things is for a guy like him, he's got to hit the ball in the air. When a ground ball for him is an out, it's kind of like Vinny. Like these dudes, the best way for them to optimize who they are and what they are best at is to hit the ball in the air. And Cags can hit it to all fields in the air, and it's probably, it's a good outcome. So it's a little different than Vinny, who really has to optimize pull side power to be who he is. But I think you can see the improvements. And he hit the ball hard, like 3 times in this game. He hit a line drive right at Buxton, and then he hits 2 balls hard for singles later. Or he hit 1 ball that was like a little nubber, and then he smokes a ball to dead center. for a different. And Curtis mentioned a great call out too with Massey's at bats being very good. Yes, like a healthy Michael Massey makes a huge difference for this team, and it's part of why I think they struggled so much offensively because they needed they needed a healthy him because when he was healthy last year, he was a huge part of the offense and he was a key contributor. Overall quality of team at bats has improved with Frazier and Yaz, and I think that's kind of two pronged. One, you get those guys in line, they're going to add their professional at bats, right? Mike Yastrzemski walked 2 times in the game. Obviously, opens up the game with the helps lead to the big inning. And then Adam Frazier just continues to impress. I mean, he walked. I think he walked twice in this game. Yeah, he walked twice as well. And he got his 1,000th hit on Thursday. I know we didn't record on Thursday, but he got his 1,000th hit then, which was a home run. He pulled the ball in the air, which he doesn't do a ton of. So good for him. And that's 1,000 hits in the show. Right? That's nothing to sneeze at. That's something he's gonna be able to carry with him for the rest of his life. Very, very cool. Salvi's closing in on 300. He hit his 298th home run on Saturday. To go back with some of the young guys where we hit a break here with Carter, I like what I see at the plate. He's hitting the ball on the ground quite a bit. It's kind of similar to Jack, where he's hitting the ball hard, but he's hitting it on the ground in a lot of areas. And, some of the swing decision stuff he's just got to refine. Some of the things like mechanically, I want to see him clean up a little bit. It's like he's kind of fallen into old habits a little bit. One of the problems that scouts I heard talk about from when he was in Double-A is that he has a tendency to kind of lunge, get more on his front foot as he's bringing the bat through the zone, which can lead to your head going all over the place and your weight shifted. And it's just not, the quality of contact is not quite there. I think he's going to find a way to fix that. Seems like he had within the first couple of months there in Double-A, it's when he really took off, and then he, got it rolling in Triple-A. I can't imagine, what it's like to not only make your big league debut, but do it in your hometown, your family in stands. It's the ballpark you grew up going to, playing with your childhood idol in Salvador Perez. Like that, I hope he's been able to take a step back and realize, like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. But he's a really calm kid. And I call him a kid. He's 22. Makes me sound old, but I mean, like, just the demeanor, the quality that you see from him. He's a high character kid. I did it there. I did it again. I want to see him play more, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, in the back half of the show here. But I have liked what I've seen so far. Like, the early returns are really good. There, you see some of the patience. You see some of the raw power, just the ability to hit the ball hard. Average exit velocity for him is around 100. It's crazy. It's some of the most underrated raw power in baseball, and now in professional baseball, in the highest level of professional baseball. Lots to like from that game. Hopefully, a sign of things to come as we head into these last 19 games of the year. We are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's why I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
What's good, everyone? It is KCSN betting analyst Benny Heiss. Something hit me as I was driving to the Missouri side, ironically, for something not available on the Kansas side. I cross over. I just can't get over how long sports fans in the state of Missouri have been waiting. It feels like forever. Good news is you don't have to wait much longer because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is finally coming to the Show Me State. If you're thinking, yeah, but I got to win on the sidelines until December 1st, it's not true. You can sign up right now. And when we go live, new Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets just for placing a $5 bet. $5. That's not even as much as a pumpkin spice latte that's going to take over. So it's not some ragtag sports, but this is DraftKings. You got live in-game betting. So if your team starts hot, you could jump in mid-play. There's lightning fast payouts. None of that wait 3 days for your money nonsense. And you've got more ways to get in on the action. There's no better way to start. It's all from your phone. When we go live, you'll be betting with the sportsbook trusted by millions, safe, secure, fast withdrawals, everything you want. Well, except maybe a guarantee that your team will cover the spread, but that part's still on you. So here's the move. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code KCSN, and when we go live December 1st, that $5 bet turns into $300 in bonus bets. That is code KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they are issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Sure to hit that like and subscribe button, everybody. Though, whether on the audio side, video side, watching this now, thank you very much. It helps grow this channel, helps more people see this show. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to get there. I want to get there by the end of the season. I know it's a tall task, but with the playoff run coming, I want more people watching this, more people engaged. As I know we're into football season. One more thing here. Speaking of Chiefs fans, calling all Chiefs fans, you could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is a proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. A couple more notes from the pitching side in this series. Stephen Kolek made his start on Saturday. He started in place of Seth Lugo, or he's taking Seth Lugo's spot in the rotation. Lugo went on the injured list with low back tightness. That had popped up over the previous couple of days prior. He was getting his work in between starts. It never fully got back. So this is, to me, obviously, you worry about that with a back injury for anybody, but also maybe just a little bit of a mental reset. I don't think this is true, like the Phantom IL thing that I know people wanted to float around, that people wanted to do. It's not something that you see very often, or if at all. Like, you can't. It's one of those things that is more like colloquially talked about, but not. Teams don't do that, or at least they don't. They're obviously not going to express that they do. But I was really impressed with what I saw from Stephen Kolek in this game. 7 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned, just those 2 earns, and 2 earned in the third inning, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. We only had 1 strikeout until the 7th inning. And in the 7th inning, he lets the first 2 guys on, Julian and Gasper, get singles, 2 on, nobody out in the 7th inning. No one warming up. So I think Luinder Avila started warming up. But I wondered, okay, how much lead, with an 11-2 lead, they're probably just going to let him pitch out this inning. And he strikes out Lee, strikes out Outman, strikes out Buxton, gets out of the inning. So he ends up with 4 strikeouts. There's nothing really flashy about what he does. He just pitches. Like, it is very much pitcher overthrow. He'll run it up into the upper 90s, but a lot of 92s, 93s. He's going to sink it. He's going to cut it. A couple different breaking balls, a good changeup. It's really impressive, and it's kind of what the Royals have identified, guys that throw a bunch of different pitches and can move it all around the zone, and then it's tweaking the percentages to maximize the stuff. And what I found really interesting is in 2 starts with the Royals, he's throwing his four seam way more than he did in San Diego. So this includes all starts. But he has not thrown enough in Kansas City to really skew these percentages. So take it for what it's worth. Overall, this season, he's thrown his four-seam fastball 26%, sinker 24.8%, slider 17.2%, cutter 15.7%, changeup 9.4%, sweeper 6.8%, and then he threw one curveball that probably was a misread if I had to guess. In his 2 starts in Kansas City, this is what it's looked like. 32% four-seam, 21% slider, 18% sinker, 13% changeup, 11% sweeper, and then a couple cutters. That was against the Tigers. Against the Twins, 35% four-seam fastball, 21% slider, 15 changeup, 13 cutter, 9 sinker, 7 sweeper. So we're seeing him utilize the four-seam fastball more, see an uptick in the slider, see the sinker come down a little bit, and just kind of mix it around. And it allows the rest of the stuff to kind of level up a little bit. That's what and it's almost the opposite of what we saw with Ryan Berger. Berger was throwing his fastball a ton, and now he's throwing more sliders, more sweepers, more changeups, and seeing the fastball come down a little bit, and the rest of his stuff is kind of leveled up. We're seeing him throw his fastball a lot more with the rest of his stuff kind of leveling up off of it. Now he threw the fastball, like I said, 35%. I asked him about that after the game because he's a heavy ground ball guy. He's like 51% ground ball rate. And there were a lot of balls in the air. I'm looking at the chart here. Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fly balls or line drive outs. And he said, with the lefty heavy lineup, the four seam plays, at the top of the zone a little bit more. It plays a lot better for me in that situation and leads to some more results like that. It's not like he was intending to get more fly balls, but four seams top of the zone, as long as they don't barrel it up, they're going to hit it straight up in the air because you're looking sinker slider down. You can drop the head a little bit and pop it up. So that's what we saw a lot of in this game. I've been really impressed, and this is where, and I've talked about it before, talked about it with Berger, what I thought they were going to be able to do with Falter, but obviously that didn't work. I trust implicitly what Brian Sweeney and Zach Bove are going to do, and Mitch Stetter deserves some credit as well, the bullpen coach, who does a lot of game planning stuff as well for a lot of these guys. They're going to figure out how to maximize whatever a dude has. And to get now 2 guys you could theoretically put in your rotation in 26 because I did not think Kolek was a long-term starter. And he still may not be. But at least for what they need from him right now, throw him out there every 5th day. I know he's going to get us through at least the 5th inning, strike out a couple, induce a lot of weak contact, and get out of games. And this team does a lot of that right now. It's pretty darn impressive. Looks like they might get Cole Reagans back. At some point he threw 3 innings today in a rehab assignment, struck out 7, only gave up 1 run, no walks. I don't have any velo readings. I was not able to get eyes on it. I just saw the stat line. I mean, that's if he's back closer to what he was, I mean, we know what he can mean when he's at his best. So we'll see. I think anything you get from Cole Reagans the rest of the year is gravy. Because I had kind of thought at this point when they were talked, in June, it was end of July, and then it was August and September. At this point, if they're able to get 2-3 starts out of him, and those are win days, I mean, that can kind of tip the scales in the favor of Kansas City if they're able to do that. A lot of good stuff there. Got eyes on the Winder Avila for the first time in person yesterday. His stuff is really good. I don't think that guy can go back to AAA next season. I think he is a bullpen guy next year and could be a really damn good one. Fastball's playing a lot better. The curveball is insane. It is insane to the way he spins it and can manipulate it. And it's not like the break kind of has that loop to it, but it's sharp. Once it starts to hit that downturn because of the way he spins it, it is sharp. and goodness, it's good. That's a legitimate plus pitch, in my opinion. You put that guy in the bullpen, let the fastball eat, into the upper 90s with that curveball falling off the table. If he's able to develop a changeup, great. If not, fastball curve in the bullpen will work for him, especially with the way that curveball plays with the fastball that he can run at the top of the zone. A lot of good stuff there. All right, let's talk about Sunday. Royals lose 5-1, and I do want to give a little bit of a shout out here. And I know it's going to sound a little odd, but I want to start here because it's interesting. Coming into the year, the Royals have owned Bailey Ober. This has been the guy that, sometimes he'll start the game after Joe Ryan. And it's like, okay, well, they're not going to be Joe Ryan, but they're definitely going to be Bailey Ober. And that was a lot of the, coming into the year. I'm like, well, you're going to see him 2-3 times. Hey, this might be the guy to get. To his credit, he's thrown well against Royals this year. Like, he's figured something out. So, I do want to give credit where it's due. Like, the guy has figured something out. He's been very solid. Starts this year. Back in April, he went 6 innings, 1 earned. Start at the end of May, 6 2/3, 1 earned. Beginning of August, 6 innings, 1 earned. And then today, I think he went 6 innings, 1 earned. Like, hey, he's figured something out here. That's separate. Now, this is where people lost their minds before the game even started. I'm trying to get it pulled up here because I didn't. People saw the lineup and lost their mind. And I'm gonna sit here and tell you I didn't agree with it either. I am not as you guys know, I don't quibble about managerial decisions a lot of the times. I don't complain about it. I may have questions, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some expert and that the move that I would have made would have been the correct one. Like, you guys know that about me. So, qualifier there. Lineup today with Bobby Witt Jr. out of the lineup. Oh, let me get there, and then we'll talk about the lineup. I'm going to give myself an aside here. Bobby left the game on Friday with back spasms. Sounds like it was just something that flared up. They don't believe it to be related to the back tightness that he had at the beginning, like right after the All-Star break in that, I think it was the Marlins series, and then in Chicago, and then he was fine for a bit. They don't believe that it's related to that, and it was just his back kind of locked up, started spasming, and so that's where we're at. He didn't play Saturday, and he did not play on Sunday. They don't fear this is an IL stint. It's really just waiting for it to loosen back up. He's gotten treatment. He's responded well to that. The MRI didn't show anything that is that serious, so we'll see if he's in the lineup against Cleveland here coming up. And we'll go from there. But just the organization didn't feel like it was red flag city with the back stuff with Bobby. Just hoping that he's gonna come out on the other side of it. We'll see. Lineup today went Yastrzemski, Garcia, Vinny, Salvi, Grichuk, Massey, Lofton, Isbell, Maley. Couple things. I'll start out by saying I completely disagree with the lineup that was put out there today. There are Sunday lineups, right? That's part of baseball. Like sometimes you just give dudes days off, especially if you're heading on a long road trip. It's like, hey, we're going to throw out our bench guys today and not punt the game, but just we're going to give some guys a break. We got a long road trip coming up, or we got a stretch coming up here. We really need someone, get us some rest. We see those, time to time throughout a year. I don't lose my mind about it. It's a 162-game season. Those lineups, May, June, July, first week of August. Okay, I get it. Whether you're in contention or not, teams do this. Like, this is not Royals exclusive. Like, every team puts out their Sunday lineup, their getaway day lineup, anything like that. We see it, right? It is September 7th and you're 2 games back. This felt a little unserious to me. A couple reasons. When I saw Grichuk in the lineup against a righty, and the lineup was pretty right-hand heavy, for the most part. I'm like, does Bailey Ober have some like weird reverse split where you're not going to put Cags and Jensen in and kind of load up lefties and then have the righty platoons, on the other side with like an Adam Frazier that can give you a pro AB later? And I'm looking, and no, like there's no drastic split. It is just odd. And for one thing, like when they traded for Randall Grichuk and you have the opposite platoon, the platoon with Yastrzemski, like, okay, I get it. Because the strong side of the platoon is going to be Yaz. And then against lefties or lefty relievers, you have Grichuk. I get it. Grichuk has not been good in Kansas City. Like, he had a home run in his second game and really hasn't done anything since. Missed a lot of middle fastballs, swinging a lot of first pitches, and a lot of poor at-bats. And it's not been good. And he was in the lineup they hit in fifth. I don't like that. And then Luke Maley's fine. He's your third catcher. Like, I view but they maybe view him as their second catcher. The only argument I think for having Maley over Jensen is there is familiarity that Maley has with some of these guys in the pitching staff, and Jensen is still getting used to that. Like, there's a reason why he hasn't thrown yet, or why he hasn't been behind the plate a ton, because he hasn't developed a relationship with these guys yet. Like, that is something that he's going to have to do. And it's not that I don't think the Royals trust him. It's just we're late in the season. We can't afford cross-ups, mix-ups. Hey, I like to do this, and it causes mistakes and defense goes haywire behind the plate. Like, Maley is kind of that steadying force in Salvi. Like, I get that. So that kind of lays out that part of it. But Luke Maley's not going to do anything for you offensively. And you need to put up offense. Like, Jack Caglione needs to be in the lineup. Carter Jensen needs to be in the lineup. They hit the ball hard, put together good at-bats. Now, okay, let me qualify it this way. I don't think they want Jensen catching in his first week in the big leagues right now, because he is still, like, he's got to get rapport with these dudes. And he talked about it after the game. He went behind the plate for a couple innings last night, but it was just because it was Luwinder Avila. Like, he has familiarity there. He's caught him for 3 years. So, like, that's a nice, easy landing into catching in the big leagues with someone that you're familiar with. I thought maybe he was going to catch Kolek, but they put Salvi out there and then gave Salvi the day off today. Hopefully, with, like, next time Berger comes around or Noah Cameron, next time through the rotation, Jensen's catching. That's what I want to see. This is just where you have to put your best guys out there every day or close to it and let the platoon happen later in the game. But I don't think you can roll out this lineup and expect to be competitive, especially without Bobby in it. Like, it changes a lot if Bobby's hitting second for you, but he's not because he's out. I don't think there was any shot they should have had Grichuk in the lineup. I would have put Yastrzemski in left, Cags in right, and Yastrzemski is fine in left. Like, he's played right for the most part. He played left last night and looked fine. You have him there. You DH Cags. Or, like, I guess the tricky part is you'd have to catch Jensen, which is tricky, but I think you just live with it because it's your best offensive lineup. I don't know. I try not to quibble about it too much because it makes me sound like I'm smart. I'm trying to be smarter than I am. But this, to me, was just a spot where you get the sweep, you're 74-70, or 74-69, like, you're in a really good spot. You're still 2 back, maybe possibly 1 back of Seattle. But even if they won today, they weren't gaining ground because Seattle punked Atlanta. It was like 18-2. So ultimately, like, even through this, you didn't lose ground. You're still 2 back. Problem is, you've been 2 back or 3 back for most of the last month. So I don't know, what it's going to take. But the best way to try and do this is force the issue on offense because this team is going to pitch, right? The bullpen's been really solid. The starting rotation, despite all the injuries, despite some inefficiencies, despite some struggles from, dudes that they're counting on, you're still pitching pretty damn well. They still have the second or third best team ERA in Major League Baseball, despite, 3/5 of your starting rotation from the beginning of the year on the injured list. The only two guys that are still in your starting rotation from opening day are Waco, Lorenzen. You got 3 new guys in there. Noah Cameron, who's a rookie. Ryan Berger, who's a rookie. And Stephen Kolek is in his second year. These guys are holding it down. And I think you trust those guys enough that, yeah, hey, I know you haven't thrown to Carter Jensen. We need his bat in the lineup right now. I know the defense may look sketchy with Yastrzemski and left and Kags and right. God dog it, we need those guys. We need their bats. Because I just don't think today felt like one of the rougher lineups they've thrown out there. The irony is we've also seen some of these lineups that people are like, I'm not even going to watch. They're going to lose, and then they find a way to win. Like, it's just weird. Baseball's weird like that. But today was a spot where I felt like you really needed to win, try and get a little bit of momentum before you go play Cleveland on the road, and then you go play the Phillies on the road. And they kind of threw out a lineup that felt like punt formation. I didn't love it. It is what it is now. Can't change the past. Hopefully over these next couple of weeks, we don't see lineups like this. And as Kags gets his feet back underneath him, and as Jensen really starts to ingratiate himself into the big leagues, we see them more because we need that. And those dudes need the big league at-bats because AAA doesn't teach them anything. And sitting on the bench, sure, watching, learning, it helps. But the best way for those dudes to get better and to improve and to be a part of the future we believe they are is to put them in the lineup damn near every day. And I think that's what we need to see. On days Salvi's not catching, Jensen's DH, Jensen's in the lineup and Salvi's DHing. Yeah, like this is I think this is why I look at it through this lens, Kevin. As you said, I made a good point about the outside of the topic. Every team's fan base has these criticisms. Like, no one likes their manager. Everyone thinks their manager is the village idiot. Everyone thinks their GM made the wrong trade, and everyone thinks that it's everything, right? Like, that's why I try and separate and I kind of add that context into some of this because we are obviously viewing this through just the individual lens of the Kansas City Royals. But every team does this. Every team has these moments. Every team has these lineups where you're like, what are they doing? It happens through a 162-game season. But when the margins get slimmer in September, you need your best 9 out there almost every day. And today I felt like they didn't do that. I know Bobby's hurt, but Kags and Jensen in the lineup is at least a little more interesting, right? It at least gets people interested. I mean, people saw the lineup today and were like, I'm just going to watch Red Zone. Like, why am I even going to watch this lineup? And that's not what you want your fan base to feel like when you're 2 games out of a wild card spot and still competing in October for a spot in October. We'll see what they've got. This series against Cleveland is obviously huge. This series and then the Phillies, that's one that I look at like Detroit, like just go get one. Can you get one? And we'll talk about more about that depending on, how they do in this upcoming series against Cleveland. So they're flying right to Cleveland. It's a 4-game set, I believe. And Cleveland's 1 game back here. So this is kind of this could be a loser leaves town match. As Ryan Berger on the mound against Slade Ciccone. I always really liked him. I liked him in the draft out of Miami. He went to Arizona or got drafted by Arizona, and then he went to Cleveland. Pretty good pitcher. Got a lefty-lefty matchup on Tuesday. Noah Cameron, Joey Cantillo. Both of those games will start at 5:40 Kansas City time. Wednesday, another 5:40. It'll be Logan Allen, another lefty with Michael Wacha on the mound for Kansas City. And then Thursday is going to be Stephen Kolek against Gavin Williams. That's a 6:15 first pitch on Thursday. So you got 4 dudes that, you feel pretty confident when they go on the mound, right? Especially Berger, especially Wacha. You know exactly what Michael Wacha is going to do. And then it's just, can you win the other 2 games where still some, not maybe questions, but just, what are you going to get? Because Noah Cameron has kind of hit a rookie wall a little bit. The walks really got to him in his last start against LA, but, he still ends up pitching fairly well in that game, keeps Kansas City in it after giving up a home run in the first. So we'll see what this team has. We'll talk I'll record probably Tuesday night after the game is over. I don't think it'll be short rest. Maybe it is. That's just what they have down for the probable. So maybe they skipped the start for somebody else. We'll see how it changes. That's just what the MLB.com has right now. So I don't think they would be pitching a guy on a short rest. That'd be kind of crazy. But maybe that's what they need right now because they just don't have a ton of pitching depth. I don't know. We'll have to see. Appreciate those that came through, hung out. I don't think I missed anything. I think I hit everything I wanted to. So I went 40 minutes, way longer than I wanted to because I want to be able to catch the end of this Buffalo-Baltimore game, which someone popped in the chat to score. It's 27-20. Shoot, 27-20 Baltimore. Okay. Toast to Salvi, Burger, Kolick. I like that. I'm going to toast Carter Jensen. First big league hit. Does it in his hometown with his family in the stands, driving in Jack Caglione, future of the organization right there. That's massive. And obviously incredible for Carter being a local kid. Gets drafted by his hometown team, gets to make his big league debut at Kauffman Stadium, and gets his first big league hit at Kauffman Stadium. And one of the most excited dudes in the clubhouse, in the dugout for him, was Salvador Perez's childhood idol. I mean, the storyline there is obviously awesome. I will tell you guys will hear from me on Wednesday morning. I'm going to record Tuesday night after the game is over. Quick recap Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday. That may be a little bit of a later episode, but that's only because the game starts at 6:15. But I'll probably go live Thursday after that game. That's the plan right now. And I will keep you all posted. I'll post about it on social and we'll go from there. Thank you all very much. And we will talk later this week. Have a great one. Go Royals. And hopefully they're able to expand a little bit from Cleveland here and keep right in this playoff race. Talk to you all soon.